Tesla crashing. Not the cars. They do that just when they're distressed.
The Tesla Cybertruck. In a country where pickup trucks are half of the top 10 selling vehicles, making an electric one seemed like a no-brainer.
For the most part, like, I would buy it again.
So what went wrong? CNBC dove in to find out.
I don't care what anyone says about this thing. It's ugly as shit. I hate seeing this stupid fucking car on the road.
Elon Musk had been talking about making some kind of a Tesla truck since at least 2012.
The worst part about the Tesla Cybertruck is, like, there's almost 100% chance in my brain that the actual engineers that work on Teslas made a good design for the Tesla Cybertruck, and then Elon Musk barged in and said, no, make it look like this. Yeah. And they were like, but that one won't sell as well. And it's not as good a design. And he was like, I don't care. I want it to look like this. And they were like, okay. In my head, that's what happened. And no one can convince me otherwise.
Most of the last decade, the three best-selling vehicles in America have been full-size pickup trucks. It's the Ford F-150, the Chevrolet Silverado, and the Ram 1500. So if the industry's going electric, it's not ridiculous to think that full-size trucks need to go electric.
Tesla said the truck would start at $39,900. As of July 2025, it started at $62,490. The max towing capacity on the Cyberbeast, the top trim, is 11,000 pounds, 3,000 short of the promised 14.
Haha, I'm sure nothing else fell short here.
The most payload any version gets is 2,270 pounds.
Oh my God. No, stop. No, dude. What's the point of buying a fucking pickup truck that can't fucking pick shit up?
On the tri-motor version with all-terrain tires. That's less than the promised 3,500. 1 month before Tesla began deliveries, Musk said over 1 million people had placed reservations. But since deliveries began in November 2023, only 52,000 units have sold in the US. In Q3 2024, they peaked at nearly 17,000 units. For a time, it was the best-selling electric pickup. From there, sales fell.
It's far more expensive than they had said in the first place.
Specs aside, the design was certainly eye-catching, but it was off-putting and even cumbersome.
I mean, it's eye-catching the way that, like, someone with leprosy might be eye-catching, right?
For many of the customers who use pickup trucks for work, and that is a large portion of the truck market.
The side of the bed, I think, is still difficult to get into.
I didn't have buyer's remorse. I was so happy because everywhere I turned, I had no gas payment. I had no...
You can just buy an electric car. You don't need a Cybertruck for that.
Repair payment. I mean, it was just a beautiful thing.
Okay. I mean, disrespectfully, I disagree.
Scott is a contractor and he needed a work truck. He paid the full $120,000 for the Cyberbeast. When he bought it, he was disappointed with the range, but Tesla had said it would offer a range extender. That would bump the range up to 470 miles, close to the original 500-mile target. But the range extender was canceled.
Okay, 470 versus 500.
120K on a car.
That's fine. I'll go ahead and buy the truck, knowing I'm going to get 470 miles. I put the deposit down on the range extender. I bought the truck, knowing that I was going to get 470 miles. Then when they canceled it, that just crushed me. They got my money and then they canceled what they were going to do. If I knew that then, I would have looked at a Silverado because the Silverado has the mileage that I'm looking for.
As with many other Tesla products and plans, the Cybertruck suffered many development and production delays and challenges. Some of these, the company said, resulted from production shutdowns and supply chain shortages common to automakers during the coronavirus pandemic.
What feels weird is I feel guilty for the people that had all those problems. I didn't have all those problems.
If you haven't seen the Legal Eagle video on the Tesla lawsuit, it's very good. I did see that he just put one out like yesterday.
Yeah, but it was uphill.
And while we saw Cybertruck sales spike a little bit above F-150 Lightning sales for a while, they've now fallen below. And the best-selling electric truck in America is a copy of the best-selling gas truck in America, which is completely unsurprising.
But Curtis and Scott find much to like about their trucks. The fact that Teslas can be updated remotely all the way down to the powertrain give them an edge.
This isn't even like a controversial opinion. It's just, I'm sorry, gas cars are just meatier than electric cars. They just are. The reason electric cars are popular is because you just don't need a gas car for most things. But if you're trying to put a gas car head to head with a fucking electric car, the electric car is going to fucking lose, obviously. I wouldn't even be surprised if the majority of the reason is just because the batteries or whatever are really fucking heavy. Or at least for the Cybertruck. Electric cars can have more torque though. Engineering Explained covered that video. Maybe we should watch that.
Closest would be the Sierra. I really love that interior. It's very luxurious, but I feel like the software wouldn't be there. And I had another buddy of mine talk me out of it. He said, you know what? It's going to be outdated. They won't update it at all. And I was like, you're right.
Scott says some other features on the Cybertruck make it stand out from the pack. For example, the air suspension can lower the truck to fit into parking structures. The included tonneau cover keeps things secure in the bed. The truck's software can recognize different types of trailers and adjust the brakes accordingly.
I mean, it's just amazing. Like, it just keeps getting better and better.
Of course, I love the look and the feel of it. I love the steer-by-wire. I love the comfort.
You're right, it's why most electric cars are smaller and lighter. It becomes a physics problem as the car gets bigger and the chassis gets heavier. Proportionally, you need more battery for a larger vehicle. Yeah, I mean, and when we're talking about trucks, like, if we're talking just... So my understanding is electric cars, like electric sports cars, are dope as shit. And they start and stop on a dime. Compared to gas cars, they're, like, better. But I'm also talking about, like, the Chinese manufactured one. But when I'm talking about trucks in this context.
One downside is some of the attention the truck attracts. Tesla has faced protests and declining sales in response to CEO Elon Musk's incendiary political rhetoric, as well as his extensive spending and work to re-elect Donald Trump and to slash federal agencies. If Scott and Curtis each had to buy a new EV pickup truck today, what would it be?
I would definitely do my research. It's not Tesla that
Do your own research.
I really think people should be looking at. I think it should be any kind of EV. So far, it'd be a Cybertruck.
There's a lot of great things that I feel like you get really good value for your money. Like I said, I'm watching this one closely. If I start having any issues, that might be it.
All right, wait. I want to see this.
You want on the internet, and even if it isn't true, some people will believe it. That's why, as a 6'6", 250-pound man capable of bench pressing twice my body weight, I feel the need to call out nonsense when I see it. The latest example, Tesla showcased their Cybertruck towing a Porsche 911 while beating up Porsche 911 in a drag race. But it's not like Tesla is saying it can tow a Porsche 911 across the quarter mile faster than the Porsche 911 can go by itself.
It can tow a Porsche 911 across a quarter mile faster than the Porsche 911 can go by itself.
Say what?
Faster than a 911 while towing a 911.
Okay, so two statements that definitely seem like blatant lies back to
America deserved Porsche 911s.
back.
Stop.
We'll ignore the pedantic definition of the word faster. The Cybertruck has a top speed of 130 miles per hour. The Porsche 911's top speed is 181 miles per hour. There is no world where stock to stock, the Cybertruck is faster, as in higher top speed. Yet they even show on the screen faster than a 911, which again is objectively not true. Now, did I just say I wouldn't get pedantic and then suddenly get very pedantic? Yes, I did. Do you see how annoying that? But what about the quarter mile statement? Now, perhaps an obvious rhetorical question, but if the Cybertruck actually was quicker in the quarter mile while towing, why would they end the race at the 8th mile in the video? 8 feet or an 8th mile. And if you measure to the timing boards, you get 1,320 feet or a quarter mile. So we have positively confirmed the video shows them finishing the race at the 8th mile line. Okay, so ultimately what we're trying to figure out is a Cybertruck towing a Porsche 911 quicker in the quarter mile than a Porsche 911 doing it all by itself? So we have a lot of unknowns here, as you can see. So let's establish what we do know. Well, we do know that a Tesla Cybertruck by itself can complete the quarter mile in 11 seconds dead at 119 miles per hour, as verified by Jason Camisa, who
The best part about this is that this video has 3.4 million views. There's a lot of nerds out there, bro. There's a lot of nerds.
Took one on the drag
Holy
strip. Okay,
shit.
so how quick is the 911 by itself? All right, so Car and Driver tested the current generation base Porsche 911, which did the quarter mile in 11.5 seconds at 120 miles per hour. So you can see that's not a very big gap, and it seems highly unlikely that a Tesla towing another vehicle would do better than 11.5. However, we don't know exactly which Porsche 911 Tesla was testing against. We do know that there is a slower Porsche 911 out there, the 911T, and the reason why it's slower is because it has a manual transmission offered. So both Car and Driver and Motor Trend have both tested the 2023 Porsche 911 Carrera T, and that vehicle has a quarter mile time of 12.2 seconds at 116 miles per hour. Again, slower because it's using a manual transmission rather than Porsche's very quick dual clutch transmission. Now, hopefully this goes without saying, but I think it's important that we use third-party test results to understand what is the slowest possible quarter mile.
Watch Formula One? No. I think of cars as like it take you from from point A to point B.
Time for a current generation Porsche 911, which according to Motor Trend and Car and Driver is 12.2 seconds. So that's the target to beat for the Tesla Cybertruck towing a 911. All right, so we've established our baseline, and now we're trying to figure out how long does the Tesla towing the 911 take to complete the quarter mile. Now, we don't know this because they don't show the full clip of it completing a quarter mile. However, they do show a full uninterrupted clip of it completing the 8th mile, so we can get this information. So if we start the clock at the very first frame before the stage light goes out, which indicates when the drag strip timing begins, and end the clock when the Cybertruck first touches the finish line, you get 8.25 seconds. This comes from counting frames, or the number of images that make up the video. So in this case, we have 198 frames to complete the quarter mile, at a frame rate of 24 frames per second. 198 divided by 24, that gives you 8.25 seconds. Now, if you do the same thing for the 911, the stage light actually goes out 1 frame later. However, it takes 4 more frames to cross the finish line, and so you have a total of 201 frames at 24 frames per second, giving you a time of 8.38. Okay, so how quickly can the Cybertruck by itself run the 8th mile? Well, once again, thanks to Jason Camisa, we have this number. So the average of 2 runs running in opposite directions, the Cybertruck completes the 8th mile in 6.94 seconds at 99 miles per hour. Okay, so if the Cybertruck towing a 911 completes the 8th mile in 8.25 seconds...
Every time he says 911, I'm activated like a sleeper cell, says a chatter. As a non-car person.
On its own completes that 8th mile in 6.94 seconds, well, that means we need an additional 1.
My math brain that loves math is actively fighting my car brain that doesn't care about cars.
31 seconds to complete that 8th mile while towing. What does that mean? Well, it means at an absolute minimum, we have to add 1.31 seconds to our Cybertruck's quarter mile time of 11 seconds. In other words, 11 plus 1.31, that gives us 12.3 seconds. Absolute best case against the 911, which can do it in 12.2 seconds. Boom, it cannot win. It cannot win in this race. Realistically, that's all you need to know. It cannot beat the slowest current gen 911 while towing a 911 in the quarter mile. But yeah, again, I'm not quite satisfied. To get a more accurate answer, let's figure out how quickly...
Oh my God. Oh. But wait, there's more. God. That is pretty funny that Elon would just lie about that, though. But also believable. But also, yeah, believable. All boils down to 2 sentences. As you increase the size of the car, the weight increases exponentially. If we try to increase the battery by the same ratio, the vehicle starts becoming concerningly heavy. Well, yeah. That's also, from my understanding, the reason why electric cars are just something that... Or sorry, electric, like, pickup trucks are something that most companies haven't bothered with. That and because marketing them is kind of a bitch. Because the majority of people that buy expensive, worthless pickup trucks like the fucking Ford 150 or 350 or whatever, want like a big man's truck. So they don't want to get like an electric truck. So it's like a marketing shit show that no one wants to bother with. I'm sure as like technology improves and like if we could make the batteries smaller or like, less heavy for the same power, they'll obviously beat fucking gas. It's the same thing with like gas stoves, right? Where in the short run, gas stoves are better than electric stoves. I'm sure many, but before anyone says I'm wrong, just wait 1 second, for the love of God. In the short run, early electric stoves sucked. They sucked so bad. There's the, not convection, there's, the thing before that. The one that doesn't use magnets. Is induction, is that one the induction one? Induction stove. Gas stoves are objectively better. I'm sorry to tell you. Gas stoves are better than the early versions of electric stoves, which were, is it conduction? The coils, basically. The shithole fucking coil electric stoves suck. I still use a coil. It's not bad. I don't know, dude. I've used them before. I fucking hate them. I fucking hate it. It was not good. It was so bad. I fucking hated them. And so gas stoves beat them out. Gas stoves were just better. They just were. They heated up faster. They stayed at those temps higher. And like you can do more with like, obviously, an open flame, right? And then convection is just forced air into circuit. Yeah, I don't know why I said convection. Induction, which is the fucking crazy magnets, are so fucking dope. They're so dope. Mostly because you don't lose, well, besides the fact that they're healthier, like literally having a gas stove in your house that you use often is bad for your health, but they heat up more efficiently and the heat is only transferred to the metal. So like you can do better stuff with them. Like you can leave your wooden spoon in the pot and the wooden spoon doesn't get hot. And there's just like very little energy loss versus a gas stove, which is just like, it's a lot of power, but it's not well controlled power. And so I wouldn't be surprised if it's exactly the same thing with trucks, especially pickup trucks, that currently most gas pickup trucks can be more, or at least for the past decade, because nobody cared to market them, because it is a marketing shit show, nobody cared to work on them. And because nobody cared to work on them, they've outperformed electric trucks. But as tech gets better and as the batteries can get smaller, or less heavy, because that's the metric that matters. The mass matters less. As they get more efficient, they'll outperform, just like everything else. Density, yes. Well, no, I think it's just the weight that matters more than the density, right? Oh, I guess the energy density of the car as a whole, yeah, that matters. Yeah. But not like weight over, like the size matters less because there's like a lot of space to put it on a fucking giant truck. What matters is the weight. But energy density, yeah. It's also not just the batteries, though. It's the motors, everything else. Batteries are the major source of the weight, though. Well, the batteries are the major source of the weight that don't really exist in... gas cars don't really have that same problem, right? They don't really have the same battery problem. Basically, an EV semi with a diesel generator? Interesting. I'm more of a leg man than a mass man. Shut up. Oh, God. Okay, but anywho, yeah, that's the only point that I was trying to make. Again, same thing with stoves. For the longest time, the average stove that you'll get, the electric stoves just sucked. The coil stoves, those just sucked. As someone who's used them, they take forever to heat up, and it doesn't ever feel like they get very hot, and it doesn't feel like they transfer heat very well to whatever you're cooking. Wait a little bit, induction stoves roll around, and they're fucking amazing in every way. I have a coil stove. I'm sorry, dude. That's brutal. I have a coil stove. It takes 4 times as long to boil water than my electric kettle. Oh. Also, the coils are killing your battery, your electricity bills. Yeah. Living in an apartment equals coil. Really? I feel like I've lived in a lot of apartments, and they've always had gas. But I hate gas stoves. I used to love gas stoves, and then I found out that, like, every time you turn on your gas stove, You're inhaling way more bad stuff than you think you're inhaling. And I was like, oh, all right, next topic. You know what? Just for that, we're going to talk about cars for the next 17 hours. That's what we're going to do. You brought this upon yourself, chatter. No, I'm just kidding. I can't talk about cars that long. I don't care enough about cars. I'm sorry. The problem is that I'm more of a train person and I fucking hate cars. And I fucking hate cars.